Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the BOCC statutory meeting. Today's date is Thursday, June 25th, and the time is 9:02 a.m. We will call this meeting to order. First up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Arnold, would you lead us, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will take attendance beginning with Mr. Hirsch.
Brendan Hirsch, Interim County Attorney.
Peters.
Zach Swearingen.
Miles Lucero.
And thank you to everybody else in attendance. Are there any modifications to today's agenda?
Yes, sir. I'm requesting to remove item 2A from the consent agenda as well as 4B on the regular agenda.
Okay. I will ask for a motion to approve the proposed amended agenda.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. That'll bring us to public comment. I didn't have anybody on the sheet out there. Is there anyone in the chambers that would like to speak for public comment? I think it's all staff in here, right? Yes, okay. All right, well, we will move on. That'll bring us into our consent agenda, Mr. Hirsch.
Okay, your first item 2B is a resolution amending resolution number 25007, establishing the administrative structure of Pueblo County government for the years 2025 through 2026. Item 2C is a resolution authorizing a declaration of local disaster emergency regarding a major fire in Colorado City, Colorado. And commissioners, we do have Joshua Johnson here who would like to make a quick comment on that, if that's okay with the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good morning, commissioners. I know this is unusual to have public comment or comment during your consent agenda, but I wanted to speak in support of this declaration. And I feel there's important information you need to know as you're about to approve it. This declaration is one important step, and I want to commend Tammy Torres for bringing up the idea of the declaration to Commissioner Lucero. At least one of the homeowners was uninsured, and at least one of the homes that was lost was insured. However, it was occupied by a tenant who did not have home renter's insurance. These families have lost their homes, their belongings, their stability, and in some cases, the realistic financial safety net. The recovery process has also become complicated because now all work has been halted by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment due to the potential for asbestos at the sites. Unless the homeowners can prove their homes are new enough that they don't have asbestos, then they can't proceed with cleanup. And as you can imagine, when the homes are completely destroyed, all paperwork is most likely destroyed with it. So now they're stuck having to go back to mortgage companies that may or may not be in existence to find paperwork that may or may not be relevant to prove these things. And so it's proven a financial hardship. Even after that, the costs are continuing to increase. The cleanup costs are increasing, the insurance deductibles, asbestos testing, debris removal hauling, and having to take this debris to specialized sites. There are only 4 approved dump sites in the state of Colorado that accept asbestos, the closest of which from Pueblo is either in Aurora or across state lines in New Mexico. So this is proving, again, quite costly for these residents. So I respectfully ask the board to support the declaration and then consider any other available county assistance, such as funding, coordination support that can help reduce the burden on these families. My office has been coordinating with the Department of Human Services, the Rye Fire Department, our Public Health Department, Colorado DHSEM to help bring in VOADs, the volunteer organizations active in disaster, like Team Rubicon, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, to help with these things. But any assistance that the commissioners and the county can provide would be greatly appreciated. They're not asking for special treatment. They're just facing extreme and extraordinary circumstances. And this declaration is the first step to helping them on the road to recovery. So I appreciate your consideration today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, you're up there real quick. Do you just have an idea on what that time frame is of whether or not you're free and clear from asbestos, like built in 1990, like?
So I believe in my conversation with the health department yesterday, they go with anything after, I believe it was 1998 or 1999.
Jeez.
Is the model year. Normally, like, for example, my house, I can look on the assessor's website and it shows it was built in 2003. Apparently with the mobile homes on the assessor's website, that information is not always relevant or readily available on the assessor's website. So tracking that data down is difficult. And because there's so many different products that contain asbestos, they're not even willing to accept just a data off the assessor's website, which I asked. One of the other things is a lot of what we're dealing with, I mean, the homes were completely destroyed. We're left with metal roofs and metal frames.
Right.
And their point is the dust that was created from the heat of the fire is now coating the metal. So the metal itself has asbestos or could have asbestos dust on it. So even the frame and the metal roofing siding material now has to be treated as asbestos. So my understanding of the process is one, with your declaration, that opens up some potential DHS funding. So Tammy and her team can use maybe TANF funds and some other funds to help these families if they meet certain eligibility criteria. The second thing it does is it allows the local health department and the state health department to lessen some of the requirements. So instead of requiring an approved cleanup contractor, any cleanup contractor can come in. They still have to follow some of the same rules, double bagging, protective equipment, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the expensive asbestos cleanup crew. It could be any cleanup crew. They still have to be taken to approved sites. You just don't have to hire the expensive contractor to do it. But once your declaration's approved, Tammy can do some things. The health department will then get it. They hopefully will approve it, lessening those requirements, and we can move forward.
Okay.
So Josh, is the burden of the cleanup and the proper disposal of asbestos laden materials, that's on the homeowner?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And or their insurance companies. And like I said, at least one home was not insured. And then the sad part is one home was insured, but the people who live there had no renter's insurance. So they have all of their they have nothing and no way to restore that. Donations are being accepted. One of the things that we're working on now is misinformation. I'm aware of personally 4 different GoFundMe websites that have been created. But one of them that I'm aware of says 21 homes were lost. Well, that's not correct. So I can't stand here and tell you if that's a legitimate GoFundMe that just has maybe bad information or if that is a scam. So the Rye Fire Department, our office, we've been directing everybody to the Bank of the San Juans as the official site to either collect money and or goods and services because they can work with the community to get things to the proper people.
Okay. Hey, can we post?
Josh, I wanted to add regarding the fraudulent claims of folks putting GoFundMe pages out. I have been in touch with the Colorado City Metro Board and coordinating with them to make sure that there's one source to donate to, which is the Bank of the San Juans. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention in regard to the recovery, I did get in contact. Carolyn Tranny from Chaco did get a hold of me and is looking at what are available as recovery funds to those that have been affected and utilizing the United Way as a point of contact for those families for whatever else they're needing. I'm actually, I think the United Way was going to be in touch with Colorado City Metro today to get them published. So there will be the United Way being the flow through for those kind of funding that go beyond the actual, what you're discussing, but actually helping those with other funds that they need in recovery of items for their homes and just living daily expenses and those kind of things. So I did want to make you aware that Carolyn Tranny and United Way are engaged as well. So that might be another source of grant revenue that can come through the United Way that will help these victims. If you hear of any other disaster recovery resources, the United Way may be the flow through entity for us.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I was just gonna ask if we can publicize as much as possible for donations and things like that. So, I saw, okay. And you
Yeah.
think that that's so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just let us know whatever you guys think that we can do in addition to try and publicize and to help people out.
We've been directing people to Courtney Quinlan at the Bank of the San Juans, the branch there in Colorado City,
Okay.
as the one true official source. And the bank has a bank account set up for financial, and then she's the one that can guide people to any. There's a few churches involved, but she knows the community and is guiding people to the proper sources.
Okay.
And I know that the county, we cleaned up some asbestos at the Wells Fargo site, so we have a history with some asbestos contractors, and So again, I just wanted to make you aware that it's not just this declaration you're approving today and maybe some TANF funds, because one of the requirements for Tammy's people, they have to have children in the home. And I don't know that every family that has a loss had children under the age of 18. So some of those funds may not help. Some of them will, but I don't know that that's going to be the magic pill, if you will. So anything we can do can help, and I just wanted to make you aware of it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
commissioners.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can we ask Ms. Torres to come up to the microphone for a second?
Yeah.
So Tammy Torres deserves a lot of credit for this emergency declaration. She reached out to me as the event was going on, letting me know that if the BOCC were to initiate this disaster declaration, that opens the door to using some of the TANF funds. So can you maybe explain, now that we're doing this, what are you guys going to do as far as outreach, and how can the TANF dollars specifically help some of these families?
Sure. I'm going to ask that Russ Guerrero go to the other microphone so that he can also talk to the operations of it. But the declaration really allows us to go in and help any family that has to have a child in the home under the age of 18. A family of 4 has to be making under $75,000 a year. So it's the broad-based eligibility requirements for TANF. And once they meet, and then they have to be lawfully present. So once they meet those 3 eligibility criteria, it allows Russ and his staff to go in and assist them. And Russ, if you want to talk about what those requirements are.
For TANF families. Basically, Tammy stated a couple of them with a child in the home. And basically, when we do a county declaration, those criteria they remain in effect. If it was a state or federal disaster declaration, those would be waived. But for the county, it's still the same TANF requirements with how the money can be used. And specifically for the disaster declaration, will open up the CBMS, which is a Colorado Business Management System, to open up these funds specifically for Pueblo County residents involved in this area. So eligibility, like Tammy said, annual income less than 75,000. Clients will be asked to provide proof of needs in order to receive disaster assistance. County director, deputy director have discretion over assistance to provide client who is currently under sanctions or disqualifications. So if they're in TANF and they're under certain disqualification at the current moment, we can waive that during this time. So basically, we have a team set up to go in and see what they might qualify, or if they qualify, and then what possible needs we can get for them. This would include any of them that were on SNAP or food assistance. If they lost their card in the fire or what have you, we could reissue another card.
We could also reissue. So because some of these homes were total losses, if they were receiving food assistance, we can reissue for the month of June because it's clear that they lost their food due to the fire. So that's one thing. Each of these eligible families will have a maximum of amount that they can qualify for. And so I kind of misquoted you, and I apologize, Commissioner, when I said it was $5,000. It's actually $10,000 per household. The $5,000 limit that I was referencing was about capital. So we can't spend more than $5,000 to replace a car or to replace a home or to replace what we would consider capital equipment. But each family could maximize at $10,000 depending on their needs.
That's great. So that's a $10,000 check or disbursement in the form of an EBT.
Yes, so all money would go onto an EBT card,
Okay.
in which then they can go to any store. If they need to purchase goods, they could go to a bank to withdraw funds to pay for whatever it is that they need. And then at the end of this, we are not allowed to ask for receipts to see what they spent their money on. And so that's pretty much all of the requirements of the program.
Okay.
We can also keep it open for whenever we take the declaration off, that the month that we take it off, like say July, we rescind the declaration, then that full month, people can still come and utilize that service.
Okay.
Once it's done after the 30 days, we'll no longer have access in CBMS to use those funds.
Okay.
And Russ already contacted the state and they've already opened up that screen in CBMS. So as soon as the disaster declaration is approved, him and his staff can hit the ground running with outreach to the affected families.
Wonderful. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, even if a couple families can take advantage of this, and $10,000 is a lot of money to those folks right now. So thank you, Tammy. This is why government exists, in my opinion, to react and help our citizens. So good job to you guys, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yeah, I would just echo the thanks for everything that everybody has done on this, including the first responders, but then everybody, oftentimes people forget that after the event itself, that's when a lot of the cleanup and that's when a lot of the replacing of goods and everything else comes. So, thank you for all of you to step up in that respect. And I would just say that if people are running into issues with after going through these proper channels, that we are here for them, and to reach out to any one of our offices. I mean, I'm sure that we all want to see these folks made whole. Okay, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
I will second. Oh, okay. No, you're good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That'll bring us into our regular agenda, Mr. Hirsch.
The first item on the regular agenda is the public hearing portion for a proposed amendment to Title 15 of the Pueblo County Code. Commissioners, if you recall, this was opened and then continued to today, so the board should reopen this hearing, hear from staff, hear from anybody from the public in support of this amendment, hear from those in opposition, and then any potential rebuttal if necessary.
Okay. Well, at this point, I think it'd be appropriate to open the hearing back up, and then, as Brendan said, hear from staff and then go through the process. So, Arnold.
Good morning, Commissioners. As part of our ongoing efforts to modernize the Pueblo County Building Division and ensure our construction standards aligned with the latest safety and energy regulations, I prepared a summary of the code adoptions for the 2024. I think it was presented to everybody on the last meeting. I can go over it if you like.
Arnold, I think it's important to highlight the major changes for this round of code adoption, please.
Okay, so I broke it down in several categories. For commercial, we propose to adopt the 2024 International Building Code, the existing Buildings Code, the 2024, Energy Conservation, the 2024 International Energy Code. We're going to delete the standard commercial portion out of the IECC entirely and replace it with the commercial provisions of the Colorado Model Low Energy Carbon Code. This ensures compliance with the state energy requirements. Okay. Residential, we'd like to adopt the 2024 International Residential Code with specific amendments to it, and we'll get into that in a little bit here. Energy, the 2024 Energy Code, along with the section of R409 of the Low Energy Carbon Code, which mandates the carbon requirements of the electric ready, solar ready, and EV ready provisions. Okay. The trades, the plumbing code and the electrical code will be adopted by the state in August. I've talked to both the electrical board, the head of the electrical and plumbing, and we can adopt ahead of schedule that avoids us getting into the state mandates is what we're trying to avoid in its entirety.
Arnold, to be clear, you're saying that the state intends to adopt the 2024 codes and we're doing it preemptively.
The state intends to adopt the Colorado Plumbing Code Yeah, the 2024 International Plumbing Code, the 2026 National Electrical Code. And we're proposing to adopt them ahead of schedule.
Okay.
With an enforcement date of the end of the year would be December 31st.
So
of
again,
2026.
to adopt 24, more specifically with electrical, to avoid some of the mandates that 26 will be adopted by the state.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so with these adoptions, we standardize our procedures and bring Pueblo County up to date with modern construction, efficiency and safety practices. Also, online here, we have Adam Berry with the state of Colorado, if you have any questions for him.
Arnold, are there portions of our code where the county is choosing to opt out or go over and above what's in the international codes?
No, not at this time. Nothing is going to be increasing. Everything that we're doing is going to reduce regulations.
I'd like to ask a question, Mr. Berry.
Go ahead.
Oh, if this,
No. I think she froze. Paula, can you repeat that question? Your line froze up.
simply,
You're good. We can hear you. We could.
Okay.
There you go.
just simply, how will this help us in meeting the Colorado energy codes that are currently available? And how will it allow us to have the freedom to do the things we need to do in Pueblo County without overly adding cost to any construction in our state?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Commissioner, for asking the question. As Arnold said, what ultimately is being proposed here is adopting the 2024 International Energy Conservation Code residential provisions, and then the state's low energy and carbon code commercial provisions. I think the purpose behind adopting the low energy and carbon code commercial provisions is actually that the state's energy code board worked very hard to try to actually simplify those code provisions relative to the commercial provisions of the IUCC. Quite a bit. We made some of those provisions simpler. We also made it so that the electric ready, solar ready, EV ready provisions are all built into that. And as Arnold mentioned too, that those will be adopted on the residential side as well. So I think ultimately this is aligning with the minimum requirements that the state requires, which is that either the 2021 or that 2024 IECC and those electric, solar, and EV ready codes. And so ultimately, this isn't going any further than the state requires, and the only reason for adopting that on the commercial side is because it's actually a little bit more streamlined, kind of easier to understand, easier to comply with, and easier to enforce for the building.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mr. Montoya, can I ask you, are you aware of, if we adopt these codes, will we still be in line with the Southern Colorado Building Department? Do they operate under these same set of codes?
Currently, to my understanding, in a roundabout way, we're going to get to the same goal. Southern Colorado Building Department is electing to adopt the 21 codes with the option of building on the 24 codes. Okay, so I can't really answer, why they chose that direction, but I think ultimately we're going to end up in the same, with the exception of maybe the energy codes, if it's depending on the wording, I guess, the 21 codes are more expensive to build on than the 24 codes. I'll just say it that way.
Okay. So, sorry, can you repeat what you said? They're going to adopt the 21 codes, but building on the 24 codes? What does that mean?
Well, my understanding is they're going to give the option for a contractor to build on the 24 codes.
Okay.
I have not seen their resolution, so I can't tell you for sure what it says.
Okay. I mean, the reason I bring that up is because obviously last year we made the significant decision to develop our own building department. Part of those conversations were this will not be confusing to the community, to the contracting community, to the building community. When they build a structure in the county, they're going to be held to the same requirements as when they build a structure within city limits. And I worry that we're veering off track of that goal. And I understand our justification for why we're doing this. The 2024 codes are less restrictive. You probably save homeowners and builders some money here and there. They're also more current. So I'm fully on board with what we're doing. I'm just curious, not knowing enough about the building and construction world, is this going to cause confusion, delays across that community, in your expert opinion?
My opinion, it's not going to cause too much issues. If the option is available for them to build on the 24 codes, they're going to use the 24 codes.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We're just taking that equation out, that option.
Okay.
So we've done some research a little bit here. So on the res check for the 24 codes, the res check does work. The 21 codes, it doesn't work. Okay, I can't seem to get that model for any cost savings. Okay, but if they use the 24, there's some cost savings.
Okay.
We also did a calculation on the electrical requirements, which I've heard lots of stories of, having to put a 400 amp service, 325 amp service, and so forth. We did a calculation with the electric ready code. We come up with 194 amps. So that standard 200 amp service that almost everybody puts in right now still applies.
Okay.
So there's a cost savings, by using the 24 code. Okay, and it can range. It's a big variable. It ranges from, breaking even to possibly up to $6,000 savings. Okay, every builder is different. Some want to go just the minimum, and some go way above and beyond the minimum requirements. So to tell you that they're going to have an exact savings of $2,400, $3,900, I can't really say that.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Yeah, I just think I commend you, and we've had conversations, and that was the most succinct way I think to explain it, is the 24 is the least restrictive. Hopefully, and obviously you can't make that determination on what a contractor puts in and what they don't, but it can be less expensive to adopt these 24s. And then if the Southern Colorado Building Department is allowing folks to use those 24 codes, then I think we're in a pretty decent spot.
So commissioners, what we've done is we've ran this through the Building Board of Review as well. And we have a letter here from the chairman of the board recommending that you go forward with the adoption of the 24.
Marcy's got something.
For you, and I apologize, I didn't receive it in time to put it in the packet for you, but
As late correspondence?
yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My apologies to Commissioner McFeeters. I didn't realize she wouldn't be here this morning. I would have shot you an email with that when I received it. But as Arnold said, it's essentially just a recommendation from the Building Board of Review that we adopt the updated 2024 codes.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right.
Mr. Chair, sorry, while the hearing's still open, I did want to mention, Marcy, I think we have a small typo. And sorry for not bringing this to your attention earlier. In the mechanical code portion, chapter 15.05, the first section there reads adoption of the 2021 International Mechanical Code, but then in the paragraph below, we say we hereby adopt the International Mechanical Code, the 2024 International Mechanical Code.
Okay, Commissioner, I will make sure that we get that corrected. Thank you for noticing that error. And I will double check all of the years for the
Okay.
other codes, to make
So
sure we get that.
electrical's 2026. Sorry, bear with me while I just go real quick. The housing code references the adoption of the 1997 Uniform Housing Code. And that matches the text. Residential code is 2024. And that matches. Thank you, bear with me. I think that's it.
Okay.
So yeah, just that small 2021 fix and then.
Yep.
Are you confident that 1997 is the correct reference? Because that's, okay,
Correct.
okay.
That's
So
for the
yeah,
housing
just that
code.
small fix.
Yep, and I will note that the hard copy that went out in the packet, we do have one table, I think it's on page 46, that's still overlapped. We had some difficulty getting that formatted when it printed, but it will be correct when we get it on the website when it's adopted.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thanks for all your hard work on this, both of
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And so, I mean, we're basically treating this as almost a land use, and if there's anybody in support, anybody in opposition to it. So we'll continue through that process and asking if there's anyone here that would like to speak in support, realizing that we do have that letter from the chairman of the Pueblo County Board of Review in support of this adoption. So is there anyone else that would like to speak in support? Seeing none, is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this? Seeing none, and I didn't see any late correspondence in opposition or any correspondence period in opposition to it. Okay. Well, we will now close the hearing. And Brendan, can you one more time, or Marcy, say just the process of posting and when the adoption and all that timeline?
Commissioners, this
Clarification.
is not required to be amended by ordinance. We can amend it by resolution. So the resolution's the next item on the agenda. When that resolution's approved, the new building code will be approved. However, as Arnold mentioned, the building department's requested that the effective date for those new regulations be December 31st so that they can give everybody time to
Adjust.
adjust. So but again, you can vote to approve the regulations for the hearing, and then we'll approve the resolution in the next item on the agenda.
Okay. So vote, I'm sorry, say that one more time, Marcy.
We'll go ahead and close the hearing, vote on the approval of the text amendment, which is essentially what we're doing to change the code, and then the resolution adopting those codes and putting the effective date of December 31st is the next item on the agenda. So you'll vote on that as well.
Okay. So, I mean, we can just, one, close the hearing, and which we will now do, and then voting on just the resolution itself, and then, I mean, do we need to put in our adoption or our vote, the dates of December 31st and everything else, or just saying 4A?
It's in the resolution
I thought.
that the
okay,
effective date is December 31st. So you
Okay.
just need to
4A,
vote for approval.
got it.
That's it.
Thank you. If there's no other,
Oh, my apologies. Arnold just informed me the electrical code effective date is June
Of 20.
of 27.
but that is also in there.
It will be.
Yeah,
It's,
I will make sure that that is updated because I believe we only had that the code adoption was effective December 31st.
so without pushing electrical to June of 27. Do we need to make that motion to approve that resolution then with those, the amended changes of one, the date that Miles brought up, and then two, electrical pushing to
Yes,
27?
please.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have anything else on this?
Mr. Chair, I would prefer to, instead of making changes on the fly, knowing that there's not a tight timeline on this, let
Bring
them
it
take
back.
this back and.
Commissioners, there is in fact a tight timeline on this. So
There always is.
yes, if we do not adopt changes to the building code prior to July 1st, then we will be required to adopt changes that include the updated energy mandates from the state. This is our deadline to get it done so that we don't have to adopt those changes until the next time we update the code.
Okay.
So that was the request from the building department. So we have rushed this
Okay.
to be able to get it in under the wire for that reason. So the changes are minor. I'm confident we can make them correctly and get the copy back to you this afternoon with the corrected changes and have the resolution signed.
I'll make sure that those are in there before I sign it.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
absolutely. Okay. All right, I will ask for a motion to approve item 4A with the discussed changes on dates. And then we'll make sure it's good to go and then I'll sign it, so.
Okay, and I just want to be clear that the discussed changes are, we need to reference the mechanical code as 2024, and then we need to indicate in the resolution that the electrical code being adopted is effective July 1 of 2027.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I will make a motion with those changes as identified.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is Resolution 4C, which is a resolution approving the IGA between the Board of Governors of the Colorado State University System on behalf of CSU Pueblo and Pueblo County, Colorado on behalf of the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office for law enforcement on CSU Pueblo campus. And here to present is Chief Mark Mears.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Romo. I'm a captain with the Sheriff's Office. I'm here on behalf of the Sheriff's Office to ask this board's approval of a 5-year intergovernmental agreement with the Sheriff's Office and the CSU Pueblo. This will start July 1st, 2026 and go through June 30th, 2031. Under the agreement, the Sheriff's Office will provide dedicated law enforcement services to CSU Pueblo, which includes employing 1 lieutenant and 8 deputies. This will ensure 24-hour coverage on campus throughout the whole year. The personnel will be responsible for patrol operations, emergency response, investigations, traffic enforcement, and coordination of campus safety initiatives in partnership with the university administration and campus security staff. The total value of this agreement is $1,143,161.04 annually, which comes to a 5-year cumulative value of $5,715,805.20. Funding is fully provided by CSU Pueblo and does not require any additional expenditures from Pueblo County. We're asking this board for approval of this contract.
Thank you. Are there any significant changes to the existing contract that
No
are worth
significant
noting?
changes now.
Okay.
Captain Romo, I have a question for you, sir. If we're locking ourselves into this 5-year agreement, are there, it doesn't appear that there are any kind of like escalator costs. Do you foresee, can you think up a scenario where the sheriff's department costs do increase substantially and we are not, in fact, covering the entirety of our costs?
I don't believe so, sir, because we estimated the cost of deputy salaries to be $988,000 and some change. There is more money in that contract to cover, say, an investigation time, a SWAT call out, any type of extra duties from the sheriff's office that we be providing to CSU Pueblo. So I don't foresee any other costs towards the county.
Okay. If we found ourselves in some kind of miracle situation where we had extra dollars and the sheriff's department deputies got a pay increase across the board, do you believe there's a significant buffer built into that salaries line over the next 5 years that if we were to step up department wide, that we would be covered?
I can't say for sure on that because I wouldn't know what the increase would be, as a raise, as you're talking.
Sure.
That would depend on, that would depend on the sheriff's discussions and agreements on that. So I can't say for sure, sir.
Okay.
Outside of that, though, you feel the buffer's big enough in this
I believe
to
so.
adjust?
I
for
believe
any-
so, yes.
Okay.
Captain Romo, just a quick clarification. How many officers do you have on campus and does it fluctuate depending on what is happening there?
So we're split up into 3 different shifts on there: day shift, afternoon shift, graveyard shift. During the day shift, I have one lieutenant there, and 3 patrol deputies. The afternoon shift, the lieutenant will go home. I'll have 3 patrol deputies on the afternoon shift, and on the graveyard shift, I have 2 deputies on that shift. So it fluctuates throughout the day, yes.
Thank you.
If something goes on, obviously, we're gonna respond and handle whatever is up there.
Thank you.
Yep.
And congrats on your new role.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, I will ask for a motion to approve item 4C.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Our
Thank you.
next item, 4D, is a resolution approving the contract to the participation agreement between the State of Colorado Department of Human Services and Pueblo County Department of Human Services. And Tammy Torres is here to present.
Hi again, Commissioners. This is for a contract approval to use what we refer to at the department as the work number. So this is a contract between us and the state of Colorado, and the state of Colorado is contracting with Equifax. And so this is what we use for income verification at the department. It's used in anytime somebody's applying for an assistance program like food assistance, Medicaid, TANF, LEAP. We also use it in our child support program to verify income of folks that are ordered to pay child support. This upcoming year contract amount is for $365,638. This is a slight increase from last year. However, the major difference between this year and last year is last year we were only allowed to do 28,000 inquiries into the work number for income, and that was based off of past usage, an estimate of past usage. For this upcoming fiscal year, we are the state negotiated with Equifax to have an unlimited amount of inquiries into this system. And then for state fiscal year 27-28, the state is looking at either a different provider or a different way to integrate that into our system so that it becomes less cost burden on counties as the cost continues to increase every year.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Okay. I'm sorry, did they hit their threshold on investigations? I mean, is that consistent year after year is why the decision was made to go to an unlimited
I think
search?
the decision to go unlimited is because there were several counties who were going to withdraw their participation in the work number because it's so expensive. And so it was, I believe that it was a negotiation offset
Okay,
to the price.
okay. Thank
Director
you.
Torres, that $367,000 number comes out of your Fund 204.
Correct.
And is it subject to any split from the state?
Yeah, so it's still an 80-20 split, mostly. So every expense that we incur at the department is then attributed to our internal. So most of this is used in our 80-20 split. Child support is a 66-34 split. So when child support inquiries get charged, then we're being reimbursed at a 66%. And if it's a assistance payments, so a Medicaid food assistance, then it's the 80-20. If it's a TANF expense, then it's a 85-15. And if it's LEAP, then it's 100% reimbursed. So it just depends on the program area.
Nothing else from me?
Okay. Cool. Paul, are you good?
Good.
All right, I will ask for a motion to approve item 4D.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Tammy.
Our next item, 4E, is a resolution appointing a member to the Board of Directors of the Running Sports Complex.
Okay, and I think, Tommy, do you need to say anything on this? Are you good? I mean, you sent it to us, yeah? Trying to hustle?
So you each got the ballot by email this morning.
Okay.
And the packet includes the recommendation from the Runyon Board after they reviewed the applications.
Can you remind me their
Yes.
suggestion?
It was Mario Mativi.
That's what I thought.
Mario
Okay, I
Mativi
didn't
was
see it.
their recommendation. This is for one vacancy and there were 4
Applicants.
applicants.
Okay.
I have 3 responses, but we have a tie between Mario Mativi and Matthew Pettit.
Were there multiple first place votes, can you tell, for the same person?
Yes. Mario Mativi got 2 first place rankings, but Matthew Pettit got 3 second place rankings. That's why there's a tie.
Okay, I think based on the 2 first place rankings, we should go with Mr. Mativi. I also happen to live in the same neighborhood as Mr. Pettit and talked to him about the Runyon Board, and he had applied probably 3 months ago when we had some open positions,
Yeah.
and his circumstances have changed, so he's not quite as interested, so
Okay, well, that's good.
we're okay.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, I think that it's completely justifiable for those reasons of being, having 2 first place votes. So, okay. You good with that, Paula?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will ask for a motion to approve item 4E, appointing Mr. Mativi as the appointee to the board.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you.
Our next item, 4F, is a resolution authorizing and approving a lease purchase agreement for certain property and in connection therewith, a site lease, an indenture of trust, an official statement, and related documents and transactions. We have our CFO here to present, and also online, we have bond counsel with Q-Talk Rock.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Thanks, sir.
As you said, the resolution authorizes the general provisions, the lease purchase agreement, site lease, related documents and transactions. It sets some boundaries. We haven't quite selected an underwriter for this transaction. We expect, there's a process in the works to do that. And we just wouldn't have a result or the terms of each, offer until Monday, I think is when we expect that. So generally speaking, this is consistent with what we previously discussed. The amounts are, sufficient to do what we need to do capital. I'll, defer other comments to Mario. Maybe Mario would like to speak.
Okay, so, and there's no issue with us approving today without locking in that underwriter? Mario?
I'm happy to jump in here.
Okay.
First of all, thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak. And thank you, my colleague, for this opportunity as well. The resolution before you is presented as a parameters resolution pursuant to the Supplemental Public Securities Act of the Colorado Revised Statutes. And that allows this board to authorize the transaction and approve the forms of documents related to the transaction within certain parameters that are set forth in the document. So when it comes to selecting an underwriter, the parameter really is just that it's a suitable financial institution. And that's captured in the language of the resolution. So that's, you don't pay me by the minute, but that's why by the word. That's my long-winded attorney's way of saying yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Trimble, can you kind of talk about some of the general parameters that we're approving? I want to be clear to the public that we are not today issuing any amount of debt on behalf of the county. We are moving the process along. We're approving the general parameters. Can you talk about the specifics of the general parameters that we're approving today?
Absolutely. Yes. And I direct your attention to sections 1 and 2, the operative provisions but within the operative provisions of the resolution. When it comes to the financial terms, really section 2 covers the not to exceed principal amount. 30 million is authorized. There's a not to exceed net effective interest rate that's set at 6%, we anticipate that it will come in below that rate. And then the final maturity of not later than 2026. So the financing itself will take place within those parameters. We've tried to be a little bit, I don't want to say generous, but we want to make sure we cover contingencies in terms of those amounts, so that we don't have to come to this board formally for additional authorization. However, of course, we've talked with staff about this, and we'll be kept advised of the progress of the transaction each step of the way, so that when we get to the point after we've selected an underwriter back, and I'm sure that information will be transmitted to this board when the COPs are actually sold. Much further down the process, the final terms of that sale will have to be approved in a final term certificate signed by the board, so you all know what the terms of the sale are, and there won't be the need for formal approval of those terms by the board at large, but you'll all know about them and have signing the final terms.
Thank you for that, Mario.
Thank you, Mr. Trumbull. Just again on full public disclosure, this is something that we as a board have been working on since December. In January this last year, this is a tool in our toolbox, the budget situation that we've been facing, and we've considered all the options. This is a package I believe will really help us get our cash flow and will help us in the future to meet our budget obligations for the county. So I know it's complicated and it sounds like a lot of big words, but it is something that we have to explore as a board, and it's a good step forward in helping to get our budget situation back in balance. So thank you, Mr. Trumbull, and thank you, Craig, for bringing this forward today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep, welcome.
You guys got anything else?
I think I'm good.
Cool. I will ask for a motion to approve item 4F.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Trimble.
Our next item, 4G, is a resolution accepting the formal notice of grant noncompliance and request for repayment of the Economic Development Grant for Community Development Block Grant funding from the State of Colorado Department of Local Affairs for the Business Loan Fund Program. Here to present is Sarah Long.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is the grant that we discussed when we did a work session on our Economic Development Business Loan Fund. The grant in question, as for part of our Community Development Block Grant funds, we have two different funds that we do these loans out of. One is the CDBG fund, and that is the fund that, as we previously discussed, they have attached all of the federal requirements for those dollars when they're loaned out. The other fund is our revolved loan fund, and that is funded by the income that we get once loans from the CDBG fund are paid back in. Then we don't have those federal requirements on the dollars, and we can use those with less restriction. This loan was one loan that went out, and they were out of compliance with a requirement on a number of jobs that you have to create. There are job creation requirements for every specific amount of money that is loaned out from the federal fund. Those dollars have to create low to moderate income jobs. And unfortunately, the business that these dollars went to was unable to do that in time. So that's why they were out of compliance. So practically what will happen is the loan will be basically shifted to our revolved fund. Both funds are held by our subcontractor NeighborWorks. So we'll get a check from NeighborWorks to Pueblo County for this amount, and then we will write the check back to the state. So this is money that is not coming out of any of our budget. It just comes out of the other loan fund that we use.
Sarah, can you talk about the balance of that revolving fund and where it will leave us after we write this $290,000 check?
That is a very good question. Hey, Wally, do you remember what the balance is on a revolved fund? Thank you.
Doesn't have to be to the penny. I'm just wondering if it's $500,000, couple $1 million.
We had a couple of bigger loans go out recently, so that's why I'm hesitant to guess. I know at one point we were hovering around $1 million before this, but I think we've done some loans since then. So I'm not sure what we have that's actually, plus we use it, part of it as a reserve to make sure, like, for example, in this case, if we have to pay back the state for one of the grant funds, we want to make sure we have enough funds in the other fund to do that so that we have some reserves that won't be loaned out.
Okay.
What normally is that reserve amount that you target?
So that's one of the things we've been looking at potentially updating. We have a matrix and it's usually, the amount is usually a percentage based on risk for the loan and the amount that's going out. However, with such a large loan being defaulted, which is really the first time that that's happened for us, that has caused our board that we work with to question whether we should be adjusting that matrix to be a little more conservative on the reserve, just to be safe.
Thank you.
The money that we currently have in that account is roughly $975,000.
But that's before this money comes out of
Yeah.
it, right? Okay.
So minus the 290.
Yep.
And this is not, this has nothing to do operationally with NeighborWorks, right? This was just an unfortunate, I understand things happens, but this has to do with the business themselves receiving the loan, nothing procedurally or with NeighborWorks.
The issue for these specific dollars are just that they didn't, that the business that received the loan didn't fulfill the job creation requirements. And so when the state does an audit, I mean, it was sort of a procedural because they have to do it. We all knew this was an issue beforehand, but when the state does their audit, they say that it's out of compliance. But the way that it's worded in the letter is that we're out of compliance because we are legally responsible for the dollars.
So when we enter into an agreement with NeighborWorks and then the eventual lendee, is there language that protects us in cases like this to say we can potentially recoup some of these dollars, or is this over after?
So separate from us returning these funds, loans in general, if they default, will go through a default process. Our subcontractor, whoever it is, will go through certain steps that are set up where they try and get the individuals to pay what they can, kind of like set up sort of a payment plan.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll like adjust the terms of the loans to make it so that they are more able to pay back because, the purpose of these dollars are to help these businesses that couldn't get a loan from a bank.
Sure.
And if they completely default on the loan, and we have to go after them with like a crediting firm, that's not helping them. That's also not necessarily going to help us recoup as much of our funds back. So that process, it depends probably circumstantially on the loans situation, but ultimately that is what we could go forward with is like going through a creditor firm. We haven't had that come up yet with our loans. And if it does, we have in our contract with NeighborWorks that we need sign off from the county attorney before they do any sort of process, because it would technically be a legal proceeding. So we want to make sure that it is, done properly.
But the lendee in this case did receive the loan,
Yes.
and the default mechanism was the fact that they weren't able to meet the job thresholds. We're on the hook with the state for paying it back, but the lendee has the money conceivably. It wasn't that it was only the jobs threshold that defaulted them out.
Correct. We did at our last meeting, we have heard that they are having other struggles, so they might go through some more of our default processes. I'm not sure what the status is right at this time for that. But in theory, if they are able to continue to pay it, it would be paid back into our revolved fund. If we do have to go through a default process, anything recoup would go back into the revolved fund. Obviously, our goal would be to replace as much of the $290,000 into that fund as possible. One thing I should clarify is that their loan amount was for 250,000. The additional 40,000 is the administrative fee that goes to the subcontractor for handling all of the loan funds.
Okay.
And that's set by the state statute requirements. We just follow, basically every time we get a grant from them for these, they come with the statement of work and it sets the exact percentage for the fees. And that covers both their, the actual work that they do and the staff they have that works on it, but also like education. There are, is it once a year, Wally, or is it twice a year when they do
And they do quarterly reports
not the report, sorry, the conference meetings that they do?
yearly.
Yeah, so they have an annual conference where, and so the money also goes to their cost of attending that conference, if they're able to.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm good. Oh, I want to ask about one more thing. So this says that we must, the state must receive full payment by July 13th, 2026. If Pueblo County is unable to clear the full balance by that date, you must contact a person to establish a mutually agreed upon structure. I just want to clarify with the CFO in the room, we have, the cash exists in that separate fund. So there will be no issue writing that check and getting it done.
Yeah, I touched base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had already touched base with Craig because I wasn't sure on the timing, how that would work, and I wanted to make sure, but we've been in constant communication with Robin. She's the person at the state who works with our jurisdiction, and she's been pretty fantastic about helping us move through some of these like complicated issues that have come up with this loan in particular. And so I was going to give her an update after this resolution's approved, and stay in communication with her if we do have any delay for some reason on sending the check to the state.
Thank you, Sarah. I do have a question that relates to the administrative portion of funding. Is there monitoring that goes on with these grants, and is there any lessons that you will come away with in terms of process for the future? That is there something that we need to do better at the county level? Is it coaching for these guys that get the loans that needs to happen? I just want to make sure we understand what occurred and why, what process maybe we can improve upon here at the county to ensure that we don't have another default like that.
We are working on some of those processes, Commissioner. I've been meeting with Wally and Carmen Howard and Robin from the state and discussing some things that we can do going forward to make this program better. And I think talking about this with Brendan a little earlier today, that this might be something that we'll be discussing with you more as soon as we get the state closeout done. The other thing is the board itself. Our board members, I know, are obviously not thrilled that this loan is in trouble. But I think this was a bit of an unusual circumstance. We hadn't had a CDBG specific loan go out in a while, and the state was, they were questioning whether if we didn't lend out any dollars, whether we would really be eligible for applying again going forward. And they wanted to basically see that we were going to be able to use these dollars, because if not, they could use them somewhere else. And so I think the board felt some pressure to approve a loan that maybe they otherwise would have put more requirements on, or maybe done a smaller amount. So I do think that there's probably lessons learned on that. And it also is just, it happens. It hasn't happened to us, but talking to the state, these loans are risky. That's why a lot of these businesses can't get a loan from the bank. They're not bankable. So we go through this to try and ultimately get these businesses stood up enough that they will have a long enough credit and be able to eventually get a bank loan. But that does come with some risk. It's just unfortunate that it was one of our larger loans.
I'll also add one thing that this has been a difficult one, because really we're just a pass-through of these grant funds, where we then go partner with a nonprofit who is mainly responsible for lending that money out. And there's just been a really high turnover rate with that current nonprofit where there hasn't been one person that's been working with this loan. It's been kind of going from person to person, and each person takes time to get caught up to speed on it. And so just it's been hard to keep things within tracked as well as we would like to. And so that's definitely a learning experience for us, that though the county isn't supposed to really be the administrator of this grant program, we're just the ones that apply for the funds and do that. We probably need to figure out mechanisms where we do have greater oversight of that entity is tracking things the way that they need to.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I did just want to add, it's not necessarily related to these specific funds, but as we talked about the work session, I don't know if you recall, I had a chart to show you. We have had a number of loans go out from our revolves fund recently that are all currently on track. And so we have had, this program has been doing good as well. It's just that right now we're focusing on the dollars that came back from the state.
And one thing about these CDBG funds that was difficult is these ones a little bit to the pressure of, oh my gosh, we got one. We need to do what we can to make this happen. And I think in retrospect that was not a good decision on our part.
Okay. Thank you
Appreciate
for
that transparency.
Yeah. And thanks I was gonna ask what Paula asked about lessons learned. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys are on top of that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will ask for a motion to approve item 4G.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, your next item 4H is a resolution approving the amendment to the subrecipient agreement granting American Rescue Plan Act funds to the Colorado City Metropolitan District for water system improvements.
This has been a long time coming.
This has been a long time coming. It's pretty straightforward. The Treasury does allow, as long as these funds are spent or used by the end of 2026, we're okay. Or that, that project is okay. Recommend that you authorize the extension of this agreement so they can finish the work, water improvements at Colorado City.
Do you have any idea, sir, of the percentage spend on this project?
I don't in front of me. I know that we have a request from them for about 670,000. They've been waiting on for several months. The money's spent, and this has just kind of caught up in some of our personnel changes. We originally received this extension request before the end of 2025, and never got it in front of the board.
So
I wanted, it's very near complete. I think it's at least half on this project. I need to do a full reconciliation. I can report back to you with the status of this specific project. I just don't have it in front of me today.
do you know the approved dollar amount for the entire project?
Not this one specifically.
Okay. I mean, I'm totally fine extending it, knowing that we have through the end of 26 to spend these dollars. I think when 2026 wraps up and all of our ARPA dollars are gone, I think, having the county present what was done with those ARPA dollars would be a really good idea. But I'm fine today.
Okay, I will follow up to each of you with the report on what's remaining. We only have 2 projects open, I believe. I think it's this one, either Beulah or Avondale. I apologize. There's a lot of them, and it hasn't been front and center outside of some quarterly compliance reporting. So I will follow up with those totals.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, Craig. Yeah, I agree though. I mean, even beyond just, I think a presentation of ARPA dollars and the way that they have historically been spent, I think, wrapping up the year would be a good deal. So just to put that on your radar. Thank you. I will ask for a motion to approve item 4H.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, your last item is an ordinance 5A, amending chapter 8.20 of Title 8 of the Public County Code. And Sarah Long is here to present this as well.
Hi again, Commissioners. This is the second reading of the amendment for our noxious weeds. And if it's passed today, it will be published for the second time on July 2nd. And then there's a 30-day window before it takes effect. So that means it would take effect on August 1st. Just a reminder, a lot of the changes, if you look at it, are more cleanup and changing the language so that it's in compliance with state statute changes. We did update the job title for one of our staff members to the natural resource supervisor, which they're already using. We've been using it for a while. It's just updating it in the code. A big thing that's throughout the code is an emphasis on education. And so staff will be working with landowners to help them learn what they need to do to get rid of the noxious weeds. However, if it does come to the point where they do receive a legal notice with a requirement that they need, if they haven't worked with staff, they have a couple of options. And so one of them is that if they disagree with the legal notice on the noxious weeds, they can request an arbitration board. And so one of the clarifications that's changed in here is just the appellate mechanism for the arbitration board. If they don't like the final plan management plan that comes from the arbitration board, they would appeal that directly to district court. However, if they receive the legal notice and they don't comply with it or meet with staff to come up with a management plan, and they also don't request an arbitration board, at that point, staff would come to you because there are some further legal options that staff can take at the BOCC's discretion. And so that's one of the other things we just added in the language, making it clear that it's at your discretion and not obligatory that you proceed with a legal action.
Thank you for that. Have any of y'all received any additional correspondence from the general public on it?
We are actively working, Amanda Hobson, Deputy Director of Parks and Rec. We are actively working on a campaign with our marketing, Scott Sampson. He is going to be putting out some flyers and different Facebook posts probably within the next week to really bring attention to the board.
Okay.
And we haven't received any communication at our office since the publication of the first time.
You have not?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
I have no questions about the specifics. Thanks for all the hard work on this. I think it's getting to a place that's really good. There is one comment, Sarah, one small typo in section 8.20.040. Section A says this chapter shall apply to all premises, lands, or places located in the incorporated areas of Pueblo County.
Thank you.
I think we just missed a couple letters there, and that's it. I'm ready to move this forward.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for all the hard work on this. I know that this has not been easy, and the ongoing process, and really thank you for that that push, that public push to get that public participation. So I appreciate that.
It's published the second time.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Then I will ask for a motion to approve item 5A, which is this ordinance with the amended language that Sarah just referenced.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all for that. That'll bring us into commissioner comments. I've been going first, so somebody else can. Yeah.
I will gladly go first. I wanted to thank City Council. During their meeting on Monday, they approved $3,000 from the council contingency fund to go to the county specifically for our tennis programs that we took on. There are over 100 kids registered for the lessons down at City Park tennis courts. So it's been a great success. I was actually down there this weekend, and a couple of people commented like how many kids they've seen out on the courts. So congratulations, ma'am. Thank you very much for all the hard work, both of you. I'm looking at Amanda Hobson and Abe Armandaris in the crowd. We appreciate you. And thank you to City Council for the partnership. I think it's a good example of when we collaborate as local governments, we can do good things. And one thing that Councilor Gomez said during the meeting that I wholeheartedly agree with when the scholarship was kind of being, not debated, but discussed, is Gomez said, I don't see these as county kids or city kids. They're all Pueblo kids. And, I think that's a message that all of us can really get behind. When we take care of our kids, the community thrives. So thank you to City Council for that one. There was also a comment during the City Council meeting. They were discussing, the Southern Colorado Building Department was there discussing a potential fee increase that was later approved by City Council for plan review fees, permit fees, inspection fees through the Southern Colorado Building Department. One of the comments that was made was that the county has already stepped up our fees through our building department. I want to state on the record that is not true. Our fees have been the same since day one of the establishment of our building department. And I just wanted to set the record straight. Our fees are exactly what they were when the separation from the regional building department happened. We developed our fees specifically to stay in line with the fee structure that was in place at the regional building department, the former regional building department. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Lastly, I wanted to mention that I had a really good conversation with some folks from History Colorado. They are interested in coming down to Pueblo and helping us designate several different sites in the Salt Creek neighborhood as historically significant. And sorry, I can't remember the exact language, but basically it's a designation through History Colorado that once this designation is attached to them, the sites themselves are opened up for grant funding should the roof leak, should there be repairs necessary. And one of those sites is the Fulton Height Gymnasium. So we're going to work together. The first thing we're going to do is host a town hall with History Colorado in the Fulton Height Rec Center, just to inform the community, because a big part of their process is getting community buy-in in these neighborhoods. So the county's going to work together with History Colorado to host that town hall, get some community buy-in. And I think, assuming everything sounds good and my fellow commissioners are open to the idea that our Fulton Creek Community Center can be one of the first historically significant designated sites in Salt Creek. And I think it's a great recognition for that historical neighborhood, but also it's a huge help to us financially, because should that building need something, we have History Colorado to go to and potentially ask for funding. So I want to thank them. They're going to be down here pretty frequently, but just thank you for their commitment to Pueblo and specifically to some of our historically underserved communities in the form of Avondale, Bessemer, now Salt Creek. Really, really appreciate that. Thanks. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate your bringing up the building fee issue. I was aware of that on City Council Monday night. And again, I think it's important to always go to the source whenever you hear information that doesn't sound correct. Just encourage people to check the website, our public building department, what they're doing and what our public county building department is doing. Again, we are on a different path in terms of how we indicate what we do, and so always be sure to check with our building department. I had a couple things I wanted to say real quick. This week has kind of been like a James Taylor song. We've seen fire and we've also seen rain. And the Colorado City fire really was one that I know a lot of people that live in Colorado City. So of course I was very concerned when I heard about the fire. Just to reiterate, there are options available to continue to help those residents, and I am pursuing that with CHAFA and with United Way of Pueblo to see if we can coordinate more resources to those families. I want to thank the Colorado City Metro District, the Rye Fire Department, our Sheriff's Office, and I also want to highlight a few of the people that have been actively helping with donations, which is River of Life Church in Rye, as well as Kendra with Hope Haven, who has coordinated the giving through San Juan Bank. And so Bank of the San Juans is working for a nonprofit right now, but we're looking at other ways to get help to those folks. Second thing I wanted to acknowledge is that our Public Works Department, along with our Parks and Rec, were very active with fire mitigation help. And I want to say thank you. Our Public Works Department was out there with their trucks doing work, as well as Amanda and Abraham coordinating the emergency sites. So I just want to say publicly, thank you for that. When we have emergencies like this, you see parts of our county doing work you wouldn't think. Normally, you know, the sheriff's department will be involved, you know, fire departments will be involved, but you don't think about public works. And I also want to thank Greg and his team and Dominga for the help with the flooding the other night that occurred in the eastern part of our county. So while we really look at our public works department as roads primarily, you can see them active in emergency situations too. So I just wanted to say thank you to them. It's really important that folks understand the county never goes off the clock. We're always busy working for you as the public and in ways that you may not have ever thought about. So just special thanks to our staff. I really do appreciate all the effort and time and work that you put in. And we just are hoping for a better week. I hope we get rain and no flooding, no tornadoes, nothing like that. I'm still believing you'll get some rain. So that's all the comments that I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's funny. You guys stole all my thunder on most things, but
I gotta go first, man.
I know. Down there. And I mean, even Anthony even sent me just something that we were gonna put out pretty soon after. So that it is a complete team effort. So thank you to everybody who was working on that. And yeah, I've seen by there and just, you know, what a good job that you all did on that, to bring that forward. So thank you for doing that. You guys did a good job with that. You guys already addressed the building permit fees and that bad gouge. I want to thank Trish, for yesterday. I was the third commissioner to attend the strategic planning event. It's been the last 3 Wednesdays. Tammy was there, Craig was there, Brendan was there, our C-suite and a few other folks. And it was quite informative, and it was encouraging to see um, you know, some of the debate, but then some of the, hey, we all have similar goals, and we all are going to get there and work towards that. So this county is working together. This county is pursuing some really good things. There's been some big changes around here. And I think that we are honestly on the right path, to provide the best service to Pueblo County residents. Last thing I'll just say is, I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world, but the World Cup is pretty awesome. And I know I said something last week about just, you know, a lot of people from outside of this country coming here and seeing how beautiful this country is. And mainly it's the people. I mean, that is, you know, they talk about the amenities and they talk about Buc-ee's and Walmart and everything else. But I think what really sinks in with them is just the genuine kindness of the American citizen and looking out for people. So that is awesome. The US is playing tonight. If they win tonight, it'll be the first time in history that they've won all of their games coming out of the group league or the group section. So go USA, and if you haven't watched it, watch it because it's pretty cool. Thank you all. Our next meeting will be June 29th, which will be actually a Monday, so that'll be different, at 11 a.m. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Hold on, Commissioner.
So
Is that correct? The 29th at 11 a.m.? Okay, thank you. I will motion to adjourn.
Good morning and welcome to the BOCC work session staff update meeting. Today's date is June the 25th and the time is 10:32 a.m. We will take attendance beginning with Brendan Hirsch.
Brendan Hirsch, County Attorney's Office.
Zach Swearingen.
Miles Lucero.
And thank you to everybody else in attendance. You got a couple operational updates?
Yes, sir. A couple things we probably need to have a conversation about, commissioners. The first one's easy. So we passed a resolution regarding updated fees at Desert Hawk Golf Course that raised, really the biggest change was raising the weekend green fee for 18 holes from $39 to $42. In the resolution, we indicated that that change would be effective July 1st. Mr. Ewing over at Desert Hawk has requested that the change be effective July 15th so that he has a couple weeks to communicate these changes to the clientele out there. I didn't see an issue with that. This has been, these have been the prices for a long time. I don't think that two weeks of a change really affects kind of the intent of where we're headed. So if there's no opposition to that, I will go ahead and let Mr. Ewing know that we can make those changes effective July 15th. And I'll ask you, sir, do we need a resolution
Yes.
to reflect that?
That would be appropriate. So we can do an amendment to the resolution to reflect the new date and then
Okay.
put it back before you
Okay.
probably next week or whatever. So
Yeah, if we can do that.
Okay.
Well, will that get us there? Well, we're meeting on Monday, the 29th. So if we can get that by then, just so that we avoid that July 1st.
Yeah, we could put it on consent for that Monday meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there's another Desert Hawk matter that needs our attention. It has to do with the heating unit down there. It sounds like there's a crack in some portion of the heating unit that can, once it's fired up during heating season, that it could be potential life safety issue in the form of carbon monoxide. So Jared Mira has gone through the steps of locating the materials that we need. He indicated that the materials, I believe, would be between $9,000 and $12,000-ish dollars, and then anticipates that we do have the staff with the expertise on hand that could make the repair. And knowing that the Desert Hawk board doesn't meet until, for another few weeks, I wanted to have this conversation and make sure that you two are comfortable with the direction that he can go ahead and procure those parts, because it sounds like the supply of those parts is limited. Go ahead and procure those parts, and then we can have the conversation with the Desert Hawk board. Ultimately, we control the budget for Desert Hawk, so it's really our decision. But I think we need to make a move and allow Jared to take those steps so that we're not scrambling.
Yeah.
When the time comes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Thank you, Commissioner. I was communicating with Jared yesterday about this, and I came to the same conclusion. It is our decision, since we control the budget, on expending those funds. But we would put it on the agenda for the Desert Hawk meeting to make aware of it. So I don't have any issues. I think we need to make this repair as soon as possible. And if we have the funds, I did ask him to check with Craig to make sure that there was budget availability for this particular type of repair. But I don't have any issue with actually moving forward and getting it done soon.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I will go ahead and communicate that with him. I think that's probably it for today, knowing that we need to go talk to Mr. Zupan here right now. So I'll leave it there.
Okay. I'll just throw one out there, and again, yeah, we're on a tight timeline, so I'll keep it very short, but just again to highlight that fallen officers memorial. I'll have Craig send y'all the ATOE, the updated ATOE. It looks like that we're at 122,500 spent out of the 500,000. Obviously we do not have to spend all of that. And we, quite frankly, we probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll get the specific. I think again, it is the 40,000 that they need to get across the finish line. But I'll get some of that for you guys next week so that we can have that discussion. That's all I've got. Paula, you got anything? I'll take that as a no.
Nothing else.
Okay, that'll leave us with a request for executive session, Mr. Hirsch.
Thank you. I think it'd be appropriate to go into executive session to hold a conference with the county attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions pursuant to CRS 24-64024B regarding PUC proceeding numbers 26AL0232E and 24A042E, as well as county departmental reorganizations, local labor requirements associated with county zoning permits, and legal issues regarding the Public County Detention Center located at 3830 Medal of Honor Boulevard, as well as for the purpose of determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and or instructing negotiators under CRS 24-64024E concerning the lease purchase agreement with MBCS Investments LLC for property located at 1300 North Santa Fe Avenue.
Thank you. I will ask for a motion to go into executive session for the reasons cited.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are in executive session.